What's going on, guys? Fun with Eyes back again, and I just kind of wanted to do a final thoughts tandem overview video on these two Wii knives. The 605D, you guys can see this here, this little guy, who I'm pretty fond of, and the 609E, the Monster Warncliffe, both in the exact same color configuration, the jade green anodized titanium scales, and the black and satin blades. Now, these are loaners from Zelric, and I am very gracious that he lent them to me to check out and to show you guys, but they are loaners. They need to return to their home fairly soon, so I thought I'd give my final word on them just as an overview, because I did carry them a little bit. I used them slightly, but not enough to do a full review, so I just thought I'd touch on some of the high points. And yeah, I think that's the end of that disclaimer. Let's get into this. Now, the 609E and the 605D are both knives that I'd like to own. So if you guys are curious about that at all, if that's what you really wanted to know, yeah, I would be more than happy to add these to my collection, because both of them are so unique, so different, and honestly just good knives. Now, it goes way beyond that into the design aspect, the machining, the fit and finish. The materials on both are just incredible. I mean, they really are. I've searched and searched on both of these knives from tip to end for some sort of QC problem, some sort of design flaw or issue that I just did not like, and I can't seem to find one. That's not to say these are perfect knives. I think they're far from it. But what they're trying to do, they're doing right. And this 609E is a perfect example of that, because I think it's a great departure from titanium frame lock flippers. This is a thumb stud knife only, and I think that is my favorite feature about it. I have so many flippers, as I'm sure you guys do too as well, that thumb stud knives with good actions like this one, they're harder to find than you'd think they would be. And the action on this is awesome. I mean, it has that same feeling of a good flipper. The detent's just dialed in. It's going to lock open every time, and it's nearly fall shut. I mean, fit and finish, the anodization work, the milling on that frame lock just looks amazing. In hand, it's pretty damn nice. And I love that this one has a stonewash on top of that anodization. The 605 doesn't, and both, they definitely look the part, but this 609E stonewash is pretty awesome. Now, I do have one nitpick. Well, I guess I got a couple, but the nitpick that I have is the jimping on top. And not that it's not functional, something about it just doesn't feel right to the design. This has got a very streamlined, angular look that I enjoy, and I like how thick the handle is in this dimension. Not in this dimension, it's pretty standard, but it just feels really good in the hand, and this jimping is honestly kind of weak. It's too far spread. It's not quite sharp enough to give me good traction. I know that it's there, but I just think it detracts from the design a little bit. It's just kind of got these road bumps all over in it, and to me, it just doesn't quite fit. I mean, the backspacer I can live with, but the jimping, maybe because it extends so far down on the handle as well, I'm just not sure it's for me. But other than that, I've been searching and searching to find some sort of issue with these knives. This one in particular, I just really can't. I mean, it comes down to where I'm looking. And I discussed this privately with EDC with Aaron. With Aaron, we talked about this. When we find knives that we like, and I mean really like, we begin to become even more critical than we would be of knives that we're not necessarily in love with. And that's what I found on this knife. Once I recognized I didn't love the jimping, I started looking harder for things that I didn't like, and I just really can't find a whole lot of things. I mean, I could tell you that the positioning of the lanyard hole just doesn't lend itself to be used extremely well in tandem with a fairly deep ride clip for such a big knife, but I'm not going to throw a lanyard on it anyway, so I don't even know if that needs to be said. So all in all, this is a high quality S35VN titanium frame lock thumb stud action only beast of a knife, and it is truly awesome. And it comes in a whole bunch of colors and flavors, just like every Wii knife does, and I'm so glad that I got to take a look at this one, because honestly, there would have been no way in hell I would have been able to take a look at it if it wouldn't have been for Zelric, and I'm very appreciative of that. And I think we should transition now to the 605D, and honestly, this one's going to steal the show for me, and I can't really pinpoint one reason why this knife has spoken to me, because honestly, when I looked at it, it kind of looked funky. It didn't look like it would be something that was necessarily for me. You guys know I'm about not every time, but most times about the futuristic angular designs, which I think is more embodied by the 609. Man, I wish these had names. than the 605. This thing is about as curvy as it can be. There's no straight edge on it. I mean, the blade is almost entirely belly. It's all sorts of rounded, but it just works. And I want to give you a close-up of that 609E from all angles. In case you guys are in the market to buy one, this is exactly what the 609E looks like. You guys can see all the different facets of chamfers and milling all over this thing. That way you guys aren't wondering what that backspacer or clip looks like or anything like that. And honestly, this carries a little bit smaller than you think it would for it being so large. And it's honestly pretty lightweight, because there's some milling in there to reduce that weight. I mean, they did a damn good job of this thing. And that is the 609E. Let's take that off and get started on the 605, which is, to me, an excellent choice for everyday carry if you want a knife of this size. Now, you guys know me. I'm more about the larger knives, not necessarily the huge ones, but today I carried the Endura. And to me, that's not a huge knife. Yeah, it's kind of long, but it's easy to carry. It's lightweight. And to me, it's not extremely murdery, especially with the bright orange coloration. I mean, I don't have a problem carrying a knife of this size at all, honestly, because of my knife laws, and I get a lot of use out of blades like this for food prep, box cutting, all that sort of stuff. I have a little bit more blade than I need. Now, as I told you guys before, I do travel for work occasionally. It's getting more and more frequent, and a lot of the places I go have 3-inch blade restrictions. Enter in a knife like the 605D. And I've carried bird knives and some cheaper knives when I go out traveling before, because I didn't really want to spend the money, you know, $240, $250 on something like this, because I just didn't think it would stay in the collection. I didn't think I'd carry it. But guys, I can tell you, the 605D just strikes my fancy on so many levels. I mean, the action on this thing is amazing. It's better than the 609. And that's got a great action. The sound alone on the 605D is something to consider. Listen to this detent. Well, almost dropped it. Oof. Those ceramic ball bearings, that ceramic detent, just... the action on this is just amazing. You got your forward finger choil here if you guys need to choke up. You get that almost 4-finger grip on such a small knife, which is kind of unheard of. You got the milling on this titanium just gets me. It's insane. The attention to detail on both of these knives, and honestly, this smooth, non-stonewash look fits this knife as well. It's amazing in the hand. You got a nice thumb ramp here, and then this scallop where you can do those kind of those drag cuts. The push cuts are helped by that thumb ramp, and yeah, it's not the sliciest knife in the world. It's got a fairly thick behind the edge measurement. I wish I had some calipers for you guys, but it's fairly thick behind the edge. But for my use, which has been slight, it's performed pretty well. And you can see that lock bar milling there as well matches the rest of the handle. Almost looks like an integral design. And really all this video is me rambling about these knives before I have to regrettably send them away again. But guys, both of these knives are they're solid in my opinion. I mean, I wish I could, carry them for months on end, but I'm so backed up on reviews as it is. I don't think that's even a possibility. But they both have excellent materials. They ground well. The finishes are awesome. The anodization's great. The milling's great. It locks up. I mean, I don't know what more you could ask for. And no, I can't tell you if these guys are worth the money. I think they compete very favorably with knives in their price point, but when you're talking about spending, $150, $250 plus on knives, it's really hard to tell somebody with a completely different budget than you if these are going to be worth it to them. But honestly, if you guys are enamored with either of these designs, you've experienced WE Knives quality before, I honestly highly doubt it that you would be disappointed in either of these things. So again, I'm almost at 10 minutes here. Again, Zelric, thanks for letting me take a look at these. These knives are awesome, and I love that jade green color. I mean, that enough right there is making me look at some other WE Knives in the same coloration, because I honestly would like to check them out. And a little sneak preview here, I think I might have the Sea Monster and the Ballon, what is that one, the Ballon Betrayal? Yeah, I think both of those WE Knives are coming in the mail fairly soon, so that'll be interesting to take a little overview and unboxing of those as well. So, thanks for watching, guys, as always, and remember, have fun with your knives.